Hey guys, what's up? In this video, we're talking about something every serious player should care about. The EXP lane. It's one of the most misunderstood lanes in Mobile Legends, but when played right, it becomes the backbone of your team. It's not always glamorous, but it's critical. But before we start, I just want you to know that you won't see a lot of EXP videos right now, because I rarely play in the EXP lane. I'm a jungler, gold laner, and roamer. I was able to point out these signs because I noticed them in high-ranked games and some in pro scenes. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you why you need to do this when you're in the EXP lane. So let's talk about 6 signs that show you're a truly good EXP laner. Number 1, you win the lane without overcommitting. Winning lane doesn't always mean killing the enemy laner or smashing turrets early. It means you're consistently getting more XP, gold, pressure, and map presence without giving away deaths or early gold leads. If you're a good XP laner, you know how to trade wisely. You don't always force a fight unless it favors you. You harass without diving blindly. You time your skills not just for damage, but to punish mispositioning. And if you're playing someone like Paquito, Lapu Lapu, or Arlott, you use your mobility and crowd control to outplay, not just brute force. You also understand wave control. You don't just clear the wave as fast as possible. You freeze when you should. You slow push when it gives you better map pressure, and you force the enemy to overextend where your team can punish them. You know how to maintain lane tempo. That means never letting your opponent freely rotate while you're farming mindlessly. And you don't give up turret gold just to chase a kill that might not even matter. You play calculated. And most importantly, you don't feed. Because in the EXP lane, feeding once often means getting outscaled or losing map control entirely. So if you're winning lane while keeping deaths close to 0, you're doing it right. Number 2, you rotate when it's impactful. Rotating is one of the most dangerous habits for EXP laners. Some players rotate too late and miss the fight. Others rotate too early and lose turret pressure. But if you're good, you know how to balance. Good EXP laners rotate with purpose. You don't leave your lane just to look active, you rotate when it will change the momentum. When your ult is up, the turtle is spawning, or when the enemy jungler just showed up bottom. You track the map constantly, looking for that high impact moment where your arrival can flip a fight or secure an objective. And when you rotate, you make it clean. You shove the wave first. You make sure your turret isn't exposed. You don't rotate while your wave is crashing under your own tower. That's giving the enemy a free push and maybe turret gold. Sometimes rotating isn't the play, and good EXP laners recognize that. If your team is disorganized, if you're behind, or if the enemy laner is missing, maybe the smarter move is to stay, clear, and pressure instead of gambling on a team that's not ready. Also, you're not chasing kills in mid just to pad your stats. You're rotating to turn fights, to zone squishies, or to punish overextensions. It's about impact, not attention. Number 3, you build according to the enemy. Every match is different. If you're blindly copying builds from streamers or using the same item path regardless of enemy draft, you're playing on autopilot. A good EXP laner knows how to adapt builds in real time. You check the scoreboard, you assess who's fed, you scan enemy builds, and you respond. If the enemy jungler is dealing tons of burst magic damage, you rush radiant armor. If the marksman is shredding you with basic attacks, you go for blade armor. If there's a lot of lifesteal, dominance ice becomes your best friend. And you're not afraid to switch roles depending on the game. If your team has no front line and you're on a semi-tanky hero like Yu Zhong or Lapu Lapu, you go tankier. If your team already has a tank and you're playing a bruiser like Terizla or Benedetta, maybe you opt for a damage-heavy build to carry harder. You also time your items well. You don't sit on boots forever. You finish components with purpose. Understanding what timing gives you the biggest mid-game spike. The best EXP laners know their build isn't static. It's a tool set, and every game is a different puzzle. Number 4. You create space without throwing fights. A good EXP laner knows that your job is not just to fight, it's to absorb pressure, initiate and control zones in team fights. You create space for your carries, and that doesn't always mean kills. Sometimes it means standing in the right bush, zoning out the assassin, or peeling off the marksman at the perfect moment. You understand threat levels. You don't randomly dive the backline just because your flicker is up. You recognize that if you dive alone and die, your team has no frontline left and the enemy will wipe them. Instead, you choose your moments. You make sure your team can follow. You set the tempo. If you're on a hero like Glue, you engage when the enemy is split. If you're on a fighter like Thames or Yu Zhong, you flank to isolate their backline, but only if your team can collapse. You also understand that sometimes your job is to soak damage. You draw cooldowns. You bait key skills like Beatrix's ult, Valentina's combo, or the jungler's retribution. You don't panic. You bait smart, knowing your death helped the team win the fight. Creating space is one of the hardest things to measure on the stat sheet, but the best EXP laners know it wins games. Number 5. You time your power spikes and fight with confidence. Every EXP laner has power spikes, moments in the game when you're strongest. Maybe it's hitting level 4, completing your first item, or reaching level 7 before your opponent. A good laner doesn't just recognize this, they play around it. The second you hit level 4 and unlock your ultimate, you don't sit under turret, you look for a trade, a dive, or a rotation. You know that spike gives you advantage. Same for Uranus hitting that second core item when Regan becomes ridiculous. Or for Paquito finishing Hunter Strike. You don't play passive when you're peeking. You force the issue. Clear faster, rotate faster, take control of objectives, and pressure side lanes. But here's the other side. You also respect the enemy's power spikes. You don't try to 1v1 a Bane when he gets his first damage item. You don't face check a Thames under his turret when he's already ahead. You understand windows of power, both yours and your enemies, and good XP laners exploit them to the fullest. You don't waste time. You fight when it counts and scale when it doesn't. Number 6, you stay relevant, even when behind. Here's the real test of an EXP laner. Not when you're winning, but when things go bad. Maybe you got ganked 3 times. Maybe you got counterpicked. Maybe your jungler abandoned you. It happens. But a good EXP laner doesn't tilt. You shift your mindset from dominance to utility. You farm safe, you don't feed, you hug turret, you use flicker defensively, you give up a wave to avoid a death, you play with discipline, and even when you're behind, you still do the little things, cut waves, check bushes, body block skills, buy anti-heal, and ping threats. You give your team value without needing kills, you still show up to team fights to peel, to distract, to zone. The truth is, not feeding is a skill, and staying relevant when behind, that's what separates true EXP laners from casuals. You don't let one bad lane ruin your game, you find a way back. And here's the reason why all of this matters. The EXP lane isn't about flashy kills or highlight plays, it's about stability. It's about being the strong foundation your team can rely on. Thanks for watching. If this helped you, leave a like, drop your main EXP hero in the comments, and subscribe for more Mobile Legends guides and real talk. See you in the next video.